There's a new street fighter on your windowsill. The weapon is peace, the word is chill.
Hello Marvel Legends and welcome to another episode of Displaying Model Behavior. And today we have a cup of coffee in the big time, yeah! Because we are going to do a quick review of the new Firestar figure. This was a figure that I was not sure I was going to get. I know that I've learned over time that it is better to buy a figure and then go, nah, not great, than not buy a figure and then go, I wish I'd got it and now it costs like twice the price because everyone's bought it and they're not going to release any more. So this is one that I bought because I figured I didn't want to have buyer's remorse. Will I, or non-buyer's remorse is actually the case, but will I have buyer's remorse? Let's find out. So first of all, the packaging bodes really, really well. We know this from Marvel Legends. It's just gorgeous. I mean, just look at the graphic art on here. It's so pretty. It's just so bright and colorful and beautiful. This is nice. I mean, just as a piece of, as I say, graphic design. That's why I love these items. Like, they feel so good to have and to hold. This is a nice product, along with the side images there as well, and just Firestar embossed on the top. Lovely. But let's crack her out of the packaging and see if I'm gonna regret buying this figure or, you know, be like happy that, oh, thank goodness, she surpassed my expectations. I'm excited to find out. So, while that Dave is doing the unboxing, I'm going to tell you about Firestar and this particular version of Firestar, who is based on the Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends cartoon show that ran in the early 80s. And this is something that I grew up with as a kid. It's funny, I can't remember any individual episodes, but I can still remember the theme tune in my head like it was yesterday. And Firestar was originally going to be the Human Torch, but he was tied up with some licensing issues at that particular time, so they created Firestar because they wanted a fire character to go with the ice, because as we all know, fire, ice and spiders are a natural three-way trinity combination. That's why Scott Norton and Ice Train were gonna be Fire and Ice and Arachnaman in WCW, but Arachnaman asked for more money, hence Fire and Ice. But that's a wrestling tangent for another time. Either way, this show was mildly successful. I don't think it was like a phenomenon, but it's certainly remembered by us fans. So they have this ridiculous kind of setup where they have like a Batman type, you know, rotating computer desks, hidden secret lair inside their apartment that they share with Aunt May and her dog, Miss Lion, which is where the Miss Lion figure comes from. And it's interesting that this is just a kid's cartoon, but they threw in some romantic sort of subplots where Peter dated Firestar and occasionally Iceman would as well. And so they, if you're into shipping characters like I have a terrible habit of doing, then they have a whole polyamorous, bisexual, three-way relationship going on. It makes the whole show far more interesting. And then, of course, on top of that, you get a couple of fun cameos from other Marvel characters. There's an episode where Firestar has a bit of a romance with Sunfire from the X-Men. That's kind of cool. And then, of course, being a Marvel show, you get lots of classic Marvel villains like Doctor Doom and the Green Goblin. So that's really cool. Although I always thought it was funny that in the opening credits, it has Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends fighting a giant fire monster. So they're fighting a villain who instantly makes one of them completely redundant. Maybe in the next episode they were fighting a giant ice monster. I don't know. But either way, there's a lot of nostalgia with this show and it's very fondly remembered. So it's kind of fun that we get this representation. So before I go further, I want to show the back artwork in here. This is just awesome. This is so great. They've started doing this with more figures now. And of course, off the top of my head, I can't remember a single one. The Deluxe Thanos has the nice back art as well. And it's an extra touch. It's just so good. I mean, this, sadly, it's not, is it removable? Is it removable? I think it might be. Yeah, you could probably tug this out, but actually I don't want to do that. So you can take it out and use it as a backdrop, but I'm going to leave it in here because I keep all the boxes. But here we have Firestar in her plastic prison. Let's just pop her out here. There we go. Whoop, and the fire goes flying as well. But here is Firestar out of the packaging and looking so bored to be free. She's like, oh, you've released me from my prison. Yay. It's this head sculpt. I worried about this when I saw the initial pictures and I saw people reviewing her. I was like, this is kind of a unimpressed, derpy looking face. I mean, first of all, the blank expression is just, that's okay. I mean, look, we've got another head. That's the important thing. But just this initial one, look, I love having different expressions. So ideally, I would like sort of cheerful or at least neutral and rah. But like, there's a difference between being neutral and just like bland. Like she totally looks like she sat at reception waiting for a phone call or something. She doesn't look excited or even sort of determined. There's no like far off gaze or stare. It's just, it is what it is. I guess I'm gonna go fight some crime now. So that's not particularly exciting. What I do like, of course, we've got the bright yellow. That's really, really lovely. The pop collar, kind of retro, but that's what she's supposed to look like. And then you've got the lovely, this is really nice, the fire effects going up. It's not effects, it's just paintwork. And it is what it should be. This is her design in the comics. It's beautifully realized here on the figure. So that's great. That's all good. But let's take a look at the accessories, because the figure does rate pretty high as far as accessories go. First of all, most importantly, we got to check out the other head. So here is the other head, and it is an improvement. But is it great? It's no. It's not great. It's okay. But again, she still has a derpy look on her face. It's like, I don't know, I'm not sure what this face is trying to tell me, but I think it's the unfortunate kind of eye mask. I don't think the eye mask does her any favors. For whatever reason, the angle that it's at, the contours and the shapes, it kind of directs her eyes inward, so she looks a little bit cross-eyed. I think that's what it is. So it's good that this new face has a smile on it, at least. That's a decent thing. But my goodness, she's got the derp factor. And that's a real shame. And I feel like, again, it might just be the mask itself, but it feels like her eyes are kind of slanted downward slightly. And that just looked a bit odd to me. If we go back to the original head, we can see that actually it's a different type of mask, it's a different shape. And this is a real shame, because I think that the second head with the other mask would probably work better, maybe, because at least then she's smiling. I feel like if you combine elements of these two heads together, you will have a better figure, but you won't actually have a great figure, and that's a little bit of a shame. So that's, it is what it is, but what it is not great. I think Hasbro kind of dropped the ball with the design of the figure there. But we're not done though, because we do get the adorable little Miss Lion here. The dog, so cute that even the Spider-Geddon vampire creatures didn't kill her. Yeah, because they came into, what are they called? The Inheritors. Because in the Spider-Verse storyline, they came into officially not the Spider-Man and Friends universe, but it totally was. And they murdered all three of them, but Miss Lion was left alive. But this is cute, this is nice. It's a fun little accessory. I'm not gonna go on about the articulation and whatnot, although you can move the head, which is nice. It's nice that they did that. And then of course we have the two fire effects, which we've seen so many times, but I'll pop them on, and I'll also put on her other hand as well. So we get her other flame hand here. Oh, well, they're all flame hands, arguably, but I'm going to put on the other more sort of dynamic fingers outstretched type hand, because that's just a little bit more interesting. But these flame effects, they don't really, they don't wrap around the hand very well, because obviously they're just made to be generically wrapped around anything. So her quite thin forearms mean that they sit quite loose. And in a way, that's okay, because actually it looks like the fire's separating from her hand and kind of dancing around her arm, and that's kind of cool. But it also means it might fall off. We'll see. Time will tell on this one. But with the fire effects on there, she looks nice. She looks fine, but again, it's a kind of a cheap effort because there's so many characters who have these fire effects. It's not exactly an exciting, accessory. We've got plenty of these. So on the whole, this is a very average figure. And that's not a huge disappointment because I kind of expected it to be sort of an average figure. So I'm not going to lament like, this isn't the figure I paid for. It's actually exactly the figure I paid for. But at the same time, she's going to look great with Iceman and an Amazing Friends kind of setup. So that's kind of fun. I'm glad I've got her to be a completionist, but really, what I really want is the 90s Firestar with the much cooler black and flame covered sort of costume with the jacket as well. That looks really great. That looks kind of much more dynamic, and I think we will see that at some point. I've got a feeling we're going to get a 90s Firestar, but she did have this look when she was in the New Warriors to start with. So for our starting lineup for New Warriors, we now have Firestar, we got Night Thrasher, and we've got Nova coming up later this year as well. So that's really cool. So even though I could put her with Spidey and Iceman for the Amazing Friends, it stands to reason that she's going to go in the New Warriors and we can build up that New Warriors display. So that's going to be very cool. But in the meantime, let's take a look at some figure comparisons. So first and foremost, of course, we have to assemble the Super Friends, or no, not that, that's the wrong franchise, the Amazing Friends. So we have Bobby Drake, Iceman, who they teased the relationships with, but of course we know that that was not meant to be. And here we go, of course, Peter Parker, Spider-Man. These are the two lovely retro carded figures. But just for funsies, let's make it a little bit more modern, and we'll swap these guys out with their modern equivalents. So we have the Juggernaut Wave Spiky Iceman and the classic Pizza Spider-Man. Now, just to add some of the supporting cast from the TV show, we have Kenichio... Oh gosh, no, I'm blanking. We have Sunfire. Yeah, we have Sunfire, who had a short romance with Firestar. And then a couple of the classic villains from the series as well. We've got Norman Osborn's Green Goblin and the awesome vintage retro Doctor Doom. You know, I was just about to wrap up this review when I thought, well, I need to actually put the other head on the body to make this any kind of half-decent review. Got to at least strive for half-decent. And when I did, I realized that this head ain't even designed for the body. It's not fit for purpose. Why? Because when you try to put it on the body, what happens is that the hair here, all this hair that's flowing down, just gets stuck on top of the collar. It pushes the collar down. The collar tries to push it up, as physics will do, and that tries to like push the head up off of the peg, so that doesn't really work very well. Plus, with her hair sculpt, these big, thick strands of hair are not designed to sit on, I'll put it back. I'll put it back just to show you. Again, half decent, strive for half decent. You see, if I move her hands down here, help me out, love. But yeah, the hair does not sit on her, sort of on her chest and flow the way it should. It's sculpted like it should be kind of flowing down, but because the collar and the way that it sits on the neck won't allow it, the hair just sticks out in the air like she's got too much gel on it. It's not good. Not fit for purpose. Not good, Hasbro. Not good. You know, I'm debating whether or not to spend silly money on that Revlatech Iron Spider, and I'm like, well, I could always just not buy a couple of Hasbros and we're done. And I'm tempted to, because this figure's fine, but like, it's all it is. At this point, it's given me the dopamine of opening a package and the joy of making a video, which I love doing. But that's really it. There's just not much else to it. It's funny because like she fits the role, and she's got, you know, she looks like she should look like. She's got accessories, which is good, but like neither head is good. What you ideally want is a half-decent customizer who can just pop the hair off. If you put this hair on the smiling face, that would work better. But some other fire effects would have been good, just anything to make it more worthwhile. But I don't know, maybe I'm being too harsh, because the box art is very nice as well. I won't slam this figure, but I'm just not that excited about it. It is what it is. When we get the rest of the New Warriors, then that's going to be a lot better. But still, I want her 90s costume. I want her black costume. That looks so much cooler. Hopefully we will get that. And I can give Hasbro another 20 quid. But in the meantime, she'll look great next to Night Thrasher and Nova when he comes out later this year, but that's about it. She fills a gap in the collection, but I'm not madly excited about her. But she's fine. She's all right. She's another figure to keep me going until the Hoxpox wave gets here. And in the end, that's what it's all about. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Did you get Firestar? What do you think? Am I being too harsh, or is that a pretty fair assessment of the character? Comment below, let me know. And until next time, keep displaying model behavior.
Chill.